Hey guys, and welcome into another video. Now, to get ahead of it, yes, usually I do my normal start to the draft season on Christmas with my Christmas mock. Haven't gotten to it, obviously. That doesn't mean I haven't been in the draft space. I've been following the draft, the prospects. I have a lot of ideas. I have my big board already ready. I've done tons of mocks. They just haven't been put on the channel, and that's okay. So we're going to try and revive the channel, see if I can get onto a schedule now that I'm graduated from college and everything. I'm also having less time as well. You get what I'm saying. But what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be going through Mel Kiper's first-round mock draft, his first of the draft season. This came out about a week ago. So let's just see how it pans up. This obviously came out after everything. It's 10 days away from Senior Bowl, which now is only a couple days away, which is exciting. So have I looked through all of these before? Yes, but I haven't reacted to them. I don't remember who did who. You know, there's this one, McShay's, Jeremiah's, Bucky Brooks. There's so many, PFF. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to go through it. So with the first pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars, he has them taking Aiden Hutchinson, the defensive end. There's not really a wrong pick here. If they go Thibodeau, if they go Hutchinson, if they go Evan Neal, Ekwonu, or Hamilton, I think any of those guys I wouldn't even think twice about. I wouldn't think it's a weird move. Hamilton, obviously the least of the such, but yeah, Hutchinson, I mean, you know, he was a Heisman finalist. He had an amazing year for an amazing Michigan team. Protecting Trevor Lawrence, as they're saying here, and ETN, yes, that could be as big of a thing, but to have Josh Allen and Hutchinson coming off the edge, that's one of the best pairs in the league. We see that how fast a defense can turn, as we saw in Washington, where they made the playoffs last year because Chase Young, Montez Sweat, with the D tackles they already had. So defenses can really turn around really quick with defensive ends and edge play like that. So Hutchinson being on the other side of Allen, I like it a lot. Maybe try and see if Caleb on Chason can, you know, fill in as a backup if somebody goes down, or see if you can get some value out of him. I was never big on Chason, and obviously he has not performed to the first round expectations they had. But I have nothing against Hutchinson, which then number 2, Kiper has Thibodeau going to the Lions. Again, nothing wrong with this. I think the Lions would love to have the Michigan man stay in Michigan. But Thibodeau, you know, coming into this year was the consensus number 1 overall pick, and he didn't do anything to solidify that role, which is why we're seeing him not go first overall, and why it's not like he's kind of like I think he's the third option right now behind Neal and Hutchinson to go first, because he didn't have the greatest year, you know, he didn't whatever, but he's been consistent. You know, he was, like it says here, number 1 high school recruit. He's been great ever since he got to Oregon, and he continues to be great, you know. So for the Lions, who they paid money to Trey Flowers, and he hasn't done the most, I like what the Aquara brothers are doing for them. I like what they have at edge, but I think at this point, you're going with the best available talent. Only other person I would see is Evan Neal, but with a team like the Lions who have a great offensive line, I don't see a reason they need to go for that, and I think it you know, Hamilton again is in play, but Thibodeau, just, you know, get the best available player. Yes, you know, one of the Aquaras is going to have to step down from their role on the edge, and they're not going to be able to do much. But Thibodeau's, you know, another generational talent off the edge, and there's no reason you would pass up on him. Here at the 3rd spot, the Texans taking Evan Neal, though. This is a weird team, the Texans. I think this is an interesting job to take. Davis Mills looked good, which was, you know, the rookie 3rd-round pick, they're saying. Had a good rookie year. He started off slow. Tyrod came back, started off even slower when he came back. They keep Davis Mills in, and he played well. So, you know, Laremy Tunsil, I think he's got 1 more year left on his deal. But for a team that's obviously going to be in a rebuild, you're going to be selling Deshaun Watson. You might as well sell Tunsil too. Just stock up on draft picks, stock up on talent, get expiring contracts or young contracts or such from teams. And try and get this Texans team back to the playoffs when, in reality, you know, 2 years ago, Deshaun Watson was there with them. So they're not so far away from contention, obviously. They have talent, but it's just not in the right places. You know, Brandon Cooks is a star in this league. He's still a top 25 receiver. Had a great year this year. You know, you can either keep him to aid Davis Mills, or you can, you know, sell him, sell Tunsil, sell Watson, you know, get rid of those guys and see what you can get for them. But Evan Neal, again, just he can play anywhere on the line, but you're going to have him as a franchise tackle, and I think that's the right move, because he really has been the best offensive lineman, in my opinion. At pick 4, Kyle Hamilton going to the Jets. Makes so much sense. The thing for the Jets is, at least in my opinion, I want them to go defense completely. I think that you fill the offensive holes that you have in free agency, and defense, you go and have a good draft. You have 2 picks in the top 10, 10 and 4, and you have 2 more within the top 40. You spend those on defense. You have a defensive coach. If you can walk out of here with somebody in the secondary, somebody in the linebacker, and a defensive lineman of some caliber out of those 4 picks, I think that's the biggest win. No matter what order you take that. I've seen a lot of people want receivers at 4 or 10 or such, and we'll get to that later on and see what they take. But for me personally, and this will show in mock drafts and stuff like that, I just think the best available option for the Jets is to get the best available defensive player at each pick for at least their first 3 picks, unless there's an offensive player that should not be there. If Thibodeau, or if like Evan Neal was here, I'd say to get Evan Neal, or at pick 10, if Aquanu somehow fell, or like something like that. But yeah, I think you get the best available thing, because in reality, there's no, as an outsider perspective, before free agency, this is pre-free agency obviously, there's no set position on the Jets offense besides quarterback right now. You spent the number 2 overall pick on Wilson, right? Michael Carter had a great year. I like Michael Carter a lot. You can't, if someone else is playing better than him, he's going to replace Carter, and he's going to be the starter. Corey Davis got paid a lot of money. I like Davis a lot. Elijah Moore had a great rookie year. Barrios, he's a free agent. They're probably going to bring him back. He had a good year. None of those guys necessarily need to be the best option on the Jets. There can always be somebody that can go ahead of them. Offensive line, tight end, etc. So I think that you can fill those needs in free agency. I think that there's no spot that you shouldn't take. You should be taking the best available talent. But defensive-wise, it was one of the worst defenses in the league, and that's with Robert Saleh being there in his first year, obviously. But as a defensive coach, you want him to be able to elevate that defense. And we saw great defensive plays from a lot of the young guys. Michael Carter II, Bryce Hall, C.J. Mosley came back in and held his own. Franklin Myers got paid. Quinnen Williams had another good year. There's a lot of great talent and such on that defense. You could see that the defense was playing as good as it could, with the health that they had. But again, this is just a team that I think you need to get the best available talent. Jets fans are the most optimistic and the most fun fan base. There's so many good content creators, and if you aren't a Jets fan, or you are a Jets fan, you need to look up Jets Central, Jets 24/7, Matt O'Leary. All these dudes are phenomenal when it comes to covering the Jets and just covering the draft and such, and leave a lot of insight. So Kyle Hamilton, I love it. I think this is the best pick for them at 4 personally. Get the best available talent on the defensive side of the ball at pick 4. Marcus May's probably going to be gone. You're probably going to get rid of him. So help out in that secondary. He can tackle, he can cover, he can do pretty much everything to protect that top side of the defense. And that's just the first pick. You have another pick 6 picks away. We already kind of saw it. I went a little bit too far, but Ekam Ekwonu out of NC State going to the Giants. Now, the thing I love about Ekwonu is the reason I want him at 5 no matter what happens is because how the draft goes after 5, whatever the Panthers do at 6, whether they trade the pick, keep the pick, whatever it is, can dictate what you do at 7. Because personally for me, I think the Giants take 2 offensive linemen, 5 and 7. Andrew Thomas should be on the line next year. Lemieux, I think, coming back off of his healthy season, should be back on the line. Other than that, no one is guaranteed, right? I think Nick Gates should come back if he's healthy, but people are worried that might even be a career ender. Bailey Price, I think, had a really good year with us too if we bring him back. But the thing is that Andrew Thomas is going to be, he can be left tackle, right tackle, whatever it is, right? Andrew Thomas is a franchise offensive line piece. He's good. We're good. Lemieux has shown that in his time there too. I think that he's going to be solid at least for another year. So what you can do here is you could take Ekwonu, right? And let's say, let's keep Ekwonu on the left side. Let's move Andrew Thomas to the right side, and then off the top of my head, we'll just have the offensive line of, Lemieux, Price, and Gates. That'll be our offensive line. Well, at pick 6, let's say, the Panthers take Charles Cross, which a lot of people have, and I don't know what Kiper has right now, but then you could take Linderbaum at 7. Then you can have Linderbaum at the center, and you can move Gates to the right guard, and you can keep Lemieux at left guard. Or let's say that they take, Kenny Pickett or something. They don't go offensive line. Now Charles Cross is on the board, and Ekwonu being a guard/tackle, you can have him play on the left side with Thomas, have one of the best left sides, especially young left sides of the line in football. Pair that with, Gates, Lemieux, and now Cross on the right side, or vice. There's a lot of versatility taking the Kwonu pick for a team that has a decimated offensive line, and really not that many holes other than that. And I know that a lot of Giants fans, like edge rusher, linebacker, like, yes, those are holes, but they're not glaring. The offensive line is a glaring hole. Receiver, Tony, Galladay, Shepard, Slayton, that's fine. Barkley at running back, we know that. Daniel Jones, I think that having him on a rookie deal, no quarterback is that Trevor Lawrence type this year. Keep Daniel Jones at least for 1 year, and then if you have to get a vet after this, or you have to go after a Bryce Young or something next year, that happens there. But I think that you have to get somebody to play behind him that can fit the scheme. A Tyrod Taylor. Somebody of that caliber, because Glennon ran a complete can't run the offense that Daniel Jones does. Evan Ingram at tight end, but he's probably going to hit free agency. I don't see them extending him. But defense side of the ball, Adoree Jackson, Darnay Holmes, Bradbury, lockdown corners. Logan Ryan and McKinney as the safeties, because Peppers is probably gone. Cool. Like, Martinez is one of the best inside linebackers, tackle wise, in the league when he's healthy. So he'll be coming back healthy. Pair that with Lorenzo Carter's probably going to hit the open market, but you pair that with Ojulari, who had a great year. Roche had a good year. Yes, you can upgrade at the edge spot, the outside linebacker spot, but it's not a glaring, like, super need. Defensive line, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams. You have guys in place. Austin Johnson, a good year if they re-sign him. That offensive line needs to be these first two picks. It needs to be. Giants fans, let me know if you disagree or agree with me in that. I'm going to move on. Obviously, we're only at pick 5 and we're 10 minutes in. So if you guys are enjoying the video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new as well. Carolina Panthers end up taking Charles Cross here. It says right here that they were last in the league in yards per play. So many sacks allowed. A lot of that had to do with McCaffrey being hurt. And whether McCaffrey's back next season or not is a question mark as well, because we don't know if they're going to go into a full rebuild or not. But Charles Cross is going to help you out a lot. Just getting the best offensive lineman on the board. I just think that, again, that's a great pick for the Panthers. They can really do a lot here. If they took Matt Corral or Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis or something, I would be cool with that. If they took, obviously, Charles Cross or Linderbaum or Kenyon Green, I'd be cool with that. Even if they took like if Kyle Hamilton was here, if they took a Stingley or a Sauce Gardner, I'd understand all of those. Really, I think they're in a spot where they just need to take the best available talent as well. But going to pick 7, the Giants taking David Ojabo. Again, like I said, we need edge rushing. We need outside linebacker help. So it's not okay. So hopefully that this worked out. Sorry, my camera cut out for a second, so I had to cut in the video. It doesn't matter. You guys will know. Just cut. But I'm not sure where exactly I left off. But like I said, Giants do need outside linebacker help, edge help. So pairing Ojabo, who I think is a beast, with Ojulari on the edge and having Dexter and Leonard in the middle, I think that is a beast. This is a really, that pick for the Justin Fields. We wanted Devontae Smith. We end up with Kadarius Toney, who was hurt all year but looked phenomenal when healthy. And now we have the 7th pick as well. Amazing trade. And I loved it last year, and I love it still to this day. It was a great move by Gettleman. But yeah, he's going to help the pass rush, so that's going to help the pass rush. It's going to help the offensive line just with those 2 picks. Not bad. I still think that offensive line is going to be the biggest need. A lot of old veteran guys that you can get at outside linebacker or just linebacker in general that can help this offseason more than offensive line. And you really want to keep the offensive line together and young. I think so. I don't mind the Ojabo pick. Personally, I think offensive line is going to still be the move, but it is what it is. So we come here now to pick 8, Derek Stingley Jr. to the Falcons. Now, I love this pick, and I've done it in a couple mocks as well. Now, the reason why is the Falcons are another team where they just need talent, right? Matt Ryan's on his way out. Cordero's a free agent. Mike Davis, I'm not sure is a free agent, but didn't produce as much. You're getting rid of Ridley. He's going to want to leave. That was a whole mess this season anyway. So Russell Gage is really the only receiver you're keeping. Pitts is locked down. Offensive line is obviously looking a lot better than what it used to. So for the first time, it's not a huge need. But on the defense side of the ball, it's really Grady Jarrett, AJ Terrell, and some upside from a lot of other guys as well. But you can use edge rusher. You can use interior help, linebacker help, corner help, safety help. You can pretty much use any help on the defense side. You use a lot of help on the offensive side. So if they go receiver here, basically any pick that they go here, I don't think they can mess up a pick. The reason I like Stingley for the Falcons personally is because I think Sauce Gardner's the best corner in this draft, right? Stingley had an amazing freshman year. That was with Burrow and that whole crazy LSU team. Since then, he hasn't stood out. It's been, he didn't play much. He only played 3 games, and it's a whole mess with Stingley. No one knows exactly where he's at right now. But talent-wise, what we've seen him do on the field, majority of the time we've seen him at LSU, was being an absolute superstar, right? And that was when he was young as a freshman too. So to pair him with A.J. Terrell, who is locked in as like CB1, one of the best corners in the league last season, to give Stingley not the immediate CB1 role to be the second guy on that defense, you're looking at a really scary tandem if Stingley comes out and becomes that top guy like we all think he can be. I think Stingley is going to have a career based on where he goes. If he goes somewhere like, let's say the Jets, I think he's going to struggle a lot more because he's going to be that main guy. Hall is good and such, but hoping this is the one that stays on. Guess the equipment's just got a little bit of rust to it. But yeah, what I was saying about Stingley, like, once again, don't know where I left off, but he's not going to have to go into a spot where he has to be the number 1 right away. He can be that number 2 to Terrell, and they can have one of the best tandems in the league. Get whatever the best player on your board is here. If you're Atlanta, do what you can. Because, Matt Ryan's got a lot of money on the books for you, and you really aren't going to get rid of that contract. So, yeah, do what you can, gather some talent, and just know you're in for a little bit of a rebuild, but that's okay. Denver Broncos taking Nakobe Dean here at 9. I like Nakobe Dean. I like Devin Lloyd more. A lot of that has to do with Nakobe Dean not necessarily being the, biggest, baddest, like, linebacker. He's a beast, don't get me wrong. I kind of see it as, Kenneth Murray versus, was it Devin White? Was that the argument that year? Dean is definitely more sideline to sideline. I think that he can, make the tackles, do everything. He's able to cover well. He does everything well, and it's splitting hairs. I prefer Devin Lloyd. And the Broncos definitely have a need at linebacker. Alexander Johnson is a free agent. Von Miller's obviously not on the team anymore. Bradley Chubb's going into a contract year. Linebacker help can help out a lot on this defense that, it improved a lot last year, but still has room to improve. They could go quarterback. But, they have Javonte Williams as their running back. They have their receivers set. Patrick Sutton and Judy are all paid. Fant, is good there. The line is looking nice. So really, I think you just add some help in the defense. You try and get, it says here the feeling is that they more likely try to add a veteran quarterback in free agency, whether that's Aaron Rodgers, Deshaun Watson, something like that. You're going to have a new coach. You're going to have a new quarterback. And I think that no matter what, Javonte Williams and company on the offense can hold it down. I think you spend this pick on defense. But Nakobe Dean, whether that's Dean, Lloyd, a corner, edge rusher, whatever it may be, I think you spend it on defense. So I'm not mad at the pick. I prefer Lloyd, but at the same time, still a good pick. I don't think it's a bad pick at all. The Jets end up taking Drake London here. Now, like I said before with the Jets, it's not that I think that Drake London's a bad player. Personally, he's not my number 1 receiver. Treylon Burks definitely is my number 1 receiver, but I just don't see the fit in the system personally. Alongside Corey Davis, and Elijah Moore, bringing back Barrios maybe, but he's a beast. He's a big target receiver, but I just don't see him being the first receiver off the board at 10 when there's a lot of talent. Sauce Gardner still on the board. If you can walk out of here with Kyle Hamilton and Sauce Gardner, that's big. Carl Laftis is still on the board. Kenyon Green is still on the board. There's a lot of different talent. I think that they don't need to address receiver because this is such a good receiver class. If they have 2 picks to start off the second round, two more after these 2 in the top 40. You could spend one of those and go and get a George Pickens or, John Mechie or David Bell. I mean, there's a lot of dudes, Jahan Dotson. There's a lot of dudes in that second round that are would be first-round talent if this wasn't such a loaded receiver class, in my personal opinion. So I think that taking one at 10, unless you really have somebody that's like, this is the best receiver in the class and the next best guy is down here, I just don't think that receiver's the pick. I think that you go defense. The defense is what needed the help. I think you rather address this in free agency or trade, for a Metcalf, a Ridley, or a Allen Robinson, a Landry, somebody like that to pair with Corey Davis and Elijah Moore. You want those established receivers more so than I think, a rookie receiver to come in with Zach Wilson. But, London is a great talent. I'm not going to say anything bad against London as a prospect. More or less, I think that defense needs to be the side of the ball they need to work on. Washington football team taking Malik Willis at 11. Now, Malik Willis is my number one quarterback. The thing is, he's not the most pro-ready. I hate that. I hate that word, and I hate the sound of it. I think that if you want a quarterback to come in and start day one and look like he belongs there, I think Matt Corral is that guy. If you want a guy who, will have to adjust the NFL, but will start to look like he's there, I think that's Kenny Pickett. If you want a guy who in a year, 2 or 3 years could be a top 10, top 5 quarterback, Malik Willis is definitely that guy. So for Washington to take him, I like it. He's definitely my number one quarterback on my board, but he's usually not the number one quarterback taken, if that makes sense. But, I mean, his arm talent is phenomenal. I mean, he's a raw talent, but in reality, that's what the meta is for quarterbacks right now. How far can you throw the ball? Can you get out of the pocket and extend the plays and improvise? Those are the two things. If you can do those two things, you're gonna make it in the NFL nowadays. Kirk Cousins, Matt Ryan, Mac Jones, like these guys they aren't in the league for long because of, or they're not at the top of the game because of that. But who is? Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson. Brady is the exception, but even Aaron Rodgers extends the plays, and his arm talent's insane. But we've seen these past few years, if you don't have a quarterback that can get outside the pocket and throw the deep ball, then you're not gonna fail. You're gonna fail. So look, he rushed for 1,800 yards and 27 touchdowns in 2 seasons at Liberty. He originally went to Auburn. They picked Bo Nix over him. That was a mistake, obviously, on their part. But man, he definitely has the most talent. He's got a great set of legs. He's got an insane arm. He's a smaller Josh Allen is how I compare him. I really do like Malik Willis a lot. Nothing against this. I know my roommate would love this pick as a Washington fan. 12. Vikings fall into they get Sauce Gardner right into their laps. A perfect pick for them. They need corner help. They need a lot of help. This is a weird spot. New coach, new GM. We don't know who it's going to be yet. But a lot of big contracts. Thielen's a big contract. Cook's a big contract. Cousins a big contract. A lot of big contracts and a lot of holes to fill. Anthony Barr, I believe, is a free agent. Griffin's a free agent. Peterson's a free agent. A lot of guys that are out there. So I think that you just need to get, again, a best available player. But Sauce Gardner, I think, definitely is the best available player at this point. And he's my number one corner on my board. The reason Cincinnati had so much success, a lot of it came on the back of having the corner play that they had at Cincinnati, and a lot of that is from Sauce. So I think it's a great pick for them. I think that all these corner picks that they've spent these past few years, a lot of them haven't panned out. This one, I don't see a way it fails. So Sauce Gardner, perfect pick for the Vikings at 12. I love it. 13, Browns taking Garrett Wilson. Now, it's a pretty easy pick. Browns should take the best receiver left on the board if they're committed to Baker Mayfield. I get that. Again, I'm not a big fan of taking a receiver here. Again, it's the same thing with the Jets. If you have somebody that's up here and everyone else is down there, cool. But I think that if I'm the Browns, I'm going to try to trade down because I'd rather get a Jameson Williams a little bit farther down and maybe another asset or two. But the Browns are another team that not only do they have a lot of holes to fill, but they have a lot of big contracts and expiring contracts soon. Clowney, is he coming back? Who knows? You need edge help or you need defensive tackle help on that defensive line to keep it as good as it is. I think the secondary is pretty solid for right now. With Newsome, Ward, and Greedy. I think those are really good. Harrison at the strong safety, but I believe his contract's up or it is soon. Delpit, how much run is he going to get? Linebacker, there's, Koromo is a beast. I knew he was going to be a beast as long as the medical checked out last year, but there's a lot of places you can go. So I personally, I don't know what to do with the receivers. There's so many good ones. Again, I think Treylon Burks is the best one. It's not a bad pick for the Browns, but I don't know. Unless you really think Garrett Wilson, and Garrett Wilson is a monster, don't get me wrong. But if you really think he is going to completely elevate the offense, cool. But for a run-heavy offense that, if Odell couldn't do it in Cleveland and Jarvis has taken a step back and nobody's really progressed as a receiver, yeah, it could be the quarterback play, but it also has a lot to do with the scheme and how good Nick Chubb in the run game is. I just don't see drafting a receiver at 13 when you have such a strong run game and you obviously don't need to use your receivers as you do. Odell was rarely used there for how much money he was used for. So, it's not a bad pick. It's not the best pick, but it is what it is. Tyler Linderbaum going to the Ravens at 14. He is a top 5 talent in this draft, but unfortunately centers just aren't taken that high for some reason. I think a lot of people just overvalue that crap. Don't take running backs high, don't take centers high, blah, blah, blah. When it's right, it's right. If Linderbaum went in the top 5, I would not bat an eye. He's that good. Same reason why Creed Humphrey fell, and now he's arguably the rookie of the year this year. They help. Someone needs to snap the ball, and somebody needs to be a good blocker. And Tyler Linderbaum can hold down to that interior for a defensive line that has been moving around pieces. Has some older pieces. They got Zeidler, they lost Brown. There's a lot of different moving pieces on that offensive line, but keeping Lamar safe, Dobbins, Edwards when they're healthy, all these guys safe. It's the biggest thing. Giving Lamar the most time to create the plays that he can make. I think it's the best thing. So take the best available offensive lineman to here to help him. They can use some other help. They can get another corner. If Sauce or Stingley fell here, obviously there's other corners, Elam, Booth, McDuffie. But I love the pick. I think Linderbaum, you're getting a top 5 talent at 14. Why not take it? Eagles, couple picks here. So first one they're going to do is Devin Lloyd. We already talked about him. I'm not going to talk about too much. Devin Lloyd, I think the Eagles should take 3 defensive players here. At least 2, but I think they should take 3 to really stack up that defense. Because that offense is pretty much set with how they run it. Yeah, they can use another receiver. They'll probably try and go get a Mike Williams or somebody in free agency. But it's a run-heavy offense. Hurts is going to run a lot. Sanders is going to run a lot. So I'm not too concerned about it. But Eagles getting Devin Lloyd, love it. He's going to be their main linebacker. I love that pick a lot. There's not much to say about it. They need help on defense pretty much everywhere. Arnold Ebiketie, I like him a lot out of Penn State. People say it was a reach here. I don't necessarily think so. It's only a reach if he doesn't do well, because there's nothing saying that this guy isn't better than or as good as another guy. A lot of the edge rushers are really clumped up together. A lot of players in their position groups are clumped up together this year. But Ebiketie, I really do like out of Penn State. So you're getting an edge rusher, with Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox getting up there in age. Josh Sweat is doing well. I'm pretty sure he's got an extension, but just getting some more help on the edge. I think that's a great pick. The Chargers, though, getting Jordan Davis here, I think the best, biggest, baddest defensive lineman. They tried Linval Joseph this year. Didn't really work out as much as they wanted to, and he's a free agent. This dude's a monster. I mean, it says it here, 6'6", 340 pounds. He's huge, and he's huge, and he's a college student, Imagine when he gets into the NFL weight room for a year or two. Him, Joey Bosa, I mean, it's scary to think about. So he's he's going to clog the middle. I think it's the perfect spot for him to go to. The Chargers are a playoff team. They should be, and they were only a timeout away. Kenny Pickett going to the Saints here. Now, with the news of Sean Payton retiring, the Saints are in shambles right now. I have no clue what this team is going to do at this point. Because they're so far under the cap. It's insane. Taysom Hill has a huge contract that Peyton gave him, and now Peyton's gone. I don't know, man. Winston's free agent. Michael Thomas making so much money but never plays. They have money into Malcolm Jenkins and all these. It's just they have so much money into so many different guys that it's weird. But the reason I do like a quarterback going here is because their offensive line is very good and it's set where it is, and you have Kamara and Michael Thomas coming back, so I think it's very good. I think what could be even better is getting maybe a young or a young quarterback that maybe doesn't have his shot, or a veteran that could be a good fit. I think that might be better, and then get a receiver or even Trey McBride or trade down or whatever to really solidify that offense. Because if you set a quarterback up coming in and having Kamara, Michael Thomas, another good receiver, a good tight end, and that great offensive line, that's a great spot for a quarterback to come into. And I think that's what they're doing here with Kenny Pickett. So there's different ways they can do it, but you can go out and go get a Mariota or a Winston, bring Winston back and get a receiver here like a Jameson Williams or a Chris Olave or Treylon Burks still on the board. So, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what happens here. Eagles end up taking Chris Olave, as we just mentioned. Now, I like the pick. It'll free up space for Devontae Smith. I think that they should go and get a receiver in free agency. Like I said, I think Mike Williams is probably the best guy that they can go get because, Godwin, Adams, those are kind of the more far out there guys. But Devontae Smith was getting clamped all year. He wasn't able to produce like you'd want from a top 15, top 12 pick, whatever it was. But they made the playoffs. He's going to be a good pick. But Rager sucks. Arcega-Whiteside sucks. Quez Watkins had a good year, but you need help. Although they're not a passing offense, they're very run heavy, the best run offense in the league. You still need some help. So I don't think that they need to go receiver here if they get one in free agency. But it's pre-free agency. Getting Chris Olave, Nakobe Dean, and Ebekete, I think that's a very good haul for the Eagles. Pick 20, Matt Corral going to the Steelers. Love this pick a lot. Steelers can maintain their playoff appearance streak with a quarterback here. Corral, I think, is the best to make that jump. It says here, I don't think Haskins or Rudolph is going to be a starter in the NFL. Roethlisberger's gone. You still have Claypool. You still have Deontay Johnson, who blossomed into superstardom this year. Freiermuth looked really good. Offensive line is decent. Najee Harris, one of the best running backs in the league from last year. You have T.J. Watt on the defense. Cam Hayward's still there. They just have such a good team. There's some other holes they need to fill and such, but you get a good quarterback that can actually move the ball more than Ben could this last year and get it to Claypool. And if they bring Juju back or Deontay, whatever it may be, I think the Matt Corral can really do that, and I think that's a good spot for him to be at. Other than that, I think Kenyon Green would be a good pick here. He's still on the board. Some O-lineman might be a good pick, but yeah, really loving this pick. Going to the next selection, Jameson Williams to the Patriots. I don't know if the Patriots take another receiver. I really don't. They had a really good draft. It says here, Mac Jones, Ramondre Stevenson, Barmore. All that's true. No, I don't. Is Jacoby Myers a free agent right now? But the thing is, N'Keal Harry has not developed like they thought. Injuries held him back. So I think that he's not. I don't know if he's going to be brought back. He might get moved. Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, solid. Aguilar had a good year. None of those guys are stars, but at the same time, I don't think the Patriots are going to necessarily go with a top receiver again in the first round. They never really did go first-round receiver, and I don't think it's the draft to necessarily do it unless you really think Jameson Williams is going to be that guy. I kind of just trust the system more than I trust the personnel. I'd go after a corner. We don't know if J.C. Jackson's going to come back. You already lost Gilmore. I'd go after a guy, Booth, Elam, McDuffie, Kyler Gordon. There's a lot of guys on the board. I'd go after somebody on that end. Maybe there's not really a linebacker at this point, but yeah, I don't know. I think I would prefer the defensive side over the offensive side, but not a bad pick. Jameson Williams, I think, is a beast. I think that the injury, people are kind of overreacting to it. It says likely be a top 10 range if he didn't tear his ACL. ACLs aren't what they used to be. People come back from him. I'm not too worried about it. He'll play this season, and I think he'll play very well with whatever team it is. So it's a good pick. Personally, I wouldn't do it if I'm the Patriots. I don't think that they will because they've been burned with the N'Keal Harry pick and such, but you never know. Raiders, Andrew Booth Jr. Yeah, great pick. Not the biggest Booth guy, but he's very good at what a lot of corners lack at, and that's tackling. That's tackles for loss. Getting in the backfield. 6 foot press coverage. Yeah, exactly. That's what he is. He's somebody that's not afraid to get in your face, make the tackle and such, and I think that's good for the Raiders. The Raiders have had very bad picks. They're getting a new coach, getting a new GM, so it's going to be a new culture, and whoever that may be will kind of affect what this pick could be. But getting a corner out there to help out the secondary that was all right, but it definitely can improve, and we know that. And Booth is some people's number one corner, so I think it's a great pick. You can use him in many different facets because of his ability to be a playmaker in the run game and in the pass game and everywhere around there. Karlaftis going to the Cardinals. I like this pick a lot. Because I don't think that they should re-sign Chandler Jones. Maybe I'll do a free agency video talking about stuff like that, but Chandler Jones owed a contract. They had beef about it early in the season, and it's looking like he didn't really perform as much as we thought he would. He started off very well. He had that game of like 4 or 5 sacks in one game, and then he kind of slowed down from there. But this team has a lot more needs. A lot of free agents. They're going to need a running back. They're going to need receivers. If they don't re-sign Ertz or Williams, they're going to need a tight end. They're going to need some offensive line help. The offensive line is getting older. Defensively, they need corners. They need so much. So you kind of just take the best available person. I think that Karlaftis with J.J. Watt, I think would be really good here, especially if they play their cards right in free agency, get another weapon on the offense and such. You need to keep running that spread offense and make sure that you get the personnel for that. Go after Cordero Patterson's, bring Chase Edmonds back, or get those guys, Melvin Gordon maybe. But you can have that money for a Godwin or a Mike Will or something. You need weapons on the offense to run that spread offense, and you need a defense like you had this year, and even better. You need to improve it a little bit. So Karl Aftis, great pick. Him coming off the edge, he's more of a bigger, powerful defensive end. That'll just kind of create pressure, not necessarily the sack god, but he'll be a pressure guy. But pair him with J.J. Watt, that's phenomenal. Trayvon Walker going to the Cowboys, yeah. Randy Gregory might come back, but he's, he had a great year this year, but we never know. But again, the Cowboys are another team where we're just going to see what they can do. They don't have much money. They have a lot of people, a lot of free agents. Gallup is probably going to be gone. Van Der Esch is probably going to be gone. Williams, Schultz, Gregory, Curse, on top of Gallup, Cedric Wilson might not come back. So there's a lot of things here where like a Treylon Burks might be good if they're moving Cooper especially. But there's a lot of different things they can do here. Trayvon Walker is a good pick. Pretty much any pick that they would have made here is a good pick because they just need to keep acquiring talent and maintaining their stature as top of the NFC East, and that's what they're going to be hoping to do. Eagles have 3 picks. Giants had 2 picks. Washington is really just a quarterback away from being solid, and they got it already in this draft. So something to look at, man. Pick 25, Trevor Penning to the Bengals. Protect Joe Burrow. Whether it's Penning, whether it's Kenyon Green, whether it's Falele, whether it's whoever, Raymond, it doesn't matter. Get somebody to protect Joe Burrow. I mean, yes, they're in the AFC Championship, and they could be the Super Bowl winners or contenders this year. But there's a reason he got sacked 9 times against the Titans. And Titans are very good defense, don't get me wrong. But Danico Autry and Harold Landry and Jeffrey Simmons, as good as they are, 9 sacks is crazy in a playoff game. That's why it's a tied record, because it's so rare. For the team to win with 9 sacks shows how good this team is and how much they need an offensive line. And we knew that they were going to do that when they took Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell. Now you're as good as you are. Jamar Chase is as advertised. Go get that help. Going to pick 26, Jahan Dotson out of Penn State. Again, I think Treylon Burks is better than a lot of these guys. But getting a receiver to Miami isn't the worst. Waddle is so much better when Tua was playing. So when Tua's out there, he was able to do a lot more. But again, I think the offensive line is just, I think it's the move. Again, Kenyon Green's still on the board here. Because this offensive line, they spent a lot of picks on it, but really none of them have hit. Defensively, they did really well. Their defense is a lot of the reason why they had that win streak. But Preston Williams has been in and out of the lineup. Gesicki might not come back, and he's more or less a receiver than a tight end. Waddle's a beast. He's locked in. But then you have Devontae Parker with a big contract, and he rarely plays, and you don't have a running back. So it's a big if. If there's a running back like Spiller, Walker, so if somebody really skyrockets, I wouldn't even mind seeing a running back come off the board here. But Jahan Dotson, again, just getting weapons, helping out that offense. I think it's a good pick. Bills, Trent McDuffie. Tre'Davious White had an injury that we know of, obviously, and it did hit the cornerback depth. Their defense is so good, though. There's a lot of things they could do here because, again, it's just a team that is so talented. You just accrue more talent, get the best available player. It's not really about needs at this point. So whether it's a running back, a receiver, I really do like them taking a receiver here because I don't see them bringing back Sanders or Beasley personally. I think that Diggs and Davis are going to be the two, and you get a Treylon Burks or whoever it may be here. I think that's amazing. To pair with Knox, Allen, and get a running back in later rounds or sign somebody. But the Bills are a Super Bowl contending team, so they don't need much. So just getting any depth is great, and that's what they're saying. McDuffie can do it all. That's one of those high upside players where they can just kind of play around the field. So Lions taking Sam Howell at 28. Not a fan. I think Jared Goff is Detroit's guy. I think him and Campbell have such a good repertoire with each other. Also, I don't think Howell's a first-round quarterback, personally. I don't know. I just think that they have a lot of needs. Again, Treylon Burks, and I know I'm a broken record. Treylon Burks is still on the board. You have needs on defense, safety-wise. Corner-wise, you shouldn't, but you do because Okudah really hasn't been in the lineup and such. So there's a lot of things you can do here. I just don't think quarterback should be one of them. I think receiver should be the main priority here. Because Amon-Ra can't do it all like he was doing at the end of this year. So not a big fan of the Howell pick. If one of the top guys was there, Willis, Corral, or Pickett, I'd understand it, but I wouldn't go for a Howell, and you can get them in the second round. Going to 29, Cam Thomas out of San Diego State. A little bit higher than I would have Thomas personally, but I do like him a lot. And the Chiefs, yeah, Frank Clark didn't have that great of a year this year. Again, the Chiefs are another team where they can kind of go anywhere, receiver, corner, whatever, just accrue talent. They're already a contending team. Just add to that and look ahead to, okay, who's going to be free agents in these next 2 years? What's something that we can get right now to where we can let one of those assets walk and be okay? And Cam Thomas can do that for you, definitely. So if that's who they think is their guy, the best available guy at edge, go for it. Pick 30, DeMarvin Leal to the Buccaneers. Yeah, I mean, not a bad pick. Vita Vea is going to hold down that middle. He gets hurt a lot, but he is one of the best, if not the best, run stopper in the league. Yeah, a lot of guys that are going to be going away. A lot of it has to do with what happens in this free agency market. Is Brady back? Does Godwin come back? Etc. So, this could be a quarterback here. This could be a receiver. This could be offensive line. This could be so many different things. So I think we just kind of have to wait and see. But Leal is a good pick to put in there right now just to add to the defensive line. Sue, Pierre-Paul, letting them go like that. 31, Kyler Gordon out of Washington. Not bad. Yeah, Caleb Farley is an absolute beast, but he has had injuries, so who knows what's going to happen. Christian Fulton's there, who's good, but again, a young guy who kind of fell due to stuff. So I think, just add to the cornerback room. Pretty much, I mean, offensive line could be a little bit of a help too, but I like it. Take Kyler Gordon. And then 32, Trey McBride going to the Packers. Obviously, the draft order is a little different now. But yeah, they need a tight end. You can't be running Mercedes Lewis. Tanyan's going to be gone after the season. He didn't really look too good this year before he tore his ACL. His best game was honestly when he tore the ACL. So yeah, go get a weapon, whether it's for Rodgers or Love. Get that surefire target. McBride had stupid numbers at Colorado State. So go and get the best tight end in the draft. You could go get a receiver. You could go get some help on the defense, but yeah, there's a lot of money that you need to shed this season. A lot of edge help, linebacker help that might need to go too, but I don't mind it. So what do you guys think about this draft? Let me know your team in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about Kiper's pick, and let me know what you think about what your team should do at that pick as well. And what do you think about what I said? If you guys are new, again, like and subscribe. If you're here for this whole video, I appreciate you very much. Make sure to leave a like and let me know that you stayed for the whole video, because that means a lot. But hoping to keep reviewing other mock drafts, do my own prospects and stuff. So stick around the channel if you like that. Especially if you're a Giants fan, a lot of Giants content is going to come out as well. But yeah, so that's going to be pretty much it for me. If you guys did enjoy my breakdown, my insight, of course, leave a like on the video. If you didn't, just refresh that page and let me know what you think about it the second time. And without further ado, that's going to be it for me, and I'll see you guys in the next one.